Hello there, everybody. Welcome to Lisa's Halls once again. This is going to be the journey of her sepsis journey when she got ill back in 2015. So it was a while, and it was a battle that she went through, and we figured we'd share it with people, and people have been asking about it, and we think it could do a lot of good for other people out there as well. And so a lot of you may wonder, what is sepsis, okay? We just brought it up on the dictionary. Sepsis is spelled S-E-P-S-I-S. And basically, if I read it here, it's a serious condition resulting from the presence of harmful microorganisms in the blood or other tissues and the body's response to their presence, potentially leading to the malfunction of various organs, shock, and death. And we've known lots of people that have lost limbs to that as well. And
lost lives.
Lost lives. We know people personally that have lost lives because of sepsis. So it's a serious condition that you can get just from a scratch. You can get from different methods, but basically once those microorganisms get in your blood, it's a battle from them on typically. So you're battling for your life, a lot of people, and that was the case for Lisa here. So we're kind of going to try and do this in a format of question and answer. It's going to be about a 4-part video, we think. We'll try and come out with one of them a week, or maybe every 4 days. We're not exactly sure, but at least once a week we'll come out with this 4-part series. And if it ends up being 3-part, that's fine. Or if it ends up being a 5-part, that's fine. So let's get into this here. Lisa,
Yes.
back before you were admitted to the hospital. You were admitted to the hospital on September 28th of 2015, as I kind of alluded to before.
Right.
So how did you feel before that? Was it just bad on that day, or what went on prior to this?
Probably about a week and a half. Before, I thought I had the flu. And looking back, it was definitely not the flu because everything was backed up. And I'm gonna get straight up and tell you what I'm talking about is the bowels were backed up. When you have the flu, it tends to want to come out. Mine was all backed up, and I had a hard time going to the bathroom. I had a hard time I was not comfortable in my guts. But I felt like I had the flu, and I tried everything under the sun. I was cold, I was lethargic, I was tired. I was very, 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 very tired. More tired than I've ever been in my life. And I had a gray look to my skin, kind of, they call it mottled, kind of bluish gray and white. And just my skin didn't look good. But I kept working.
Yep. And when at that point you were working, like you said, and on that September 28th, you were at work that day, and so was I. I don't remember the day of the week, but you were obviously feeling not good. What happened at work there that made you go, okay, I need to go to the doctor or something?
It wasn't me. It was my nurse, Bonnie, and I call her my guardian angel. She took one look at me when she came in the door into my kitchen, and she says, I need you to leave right now. I need you to go to the doctor. She goes, there's something seriously wrong, Lisa. And I said, okay. Because nothing I was doing was working, and I just felt terrible. Okay.
So at that point, did you go to the doctor, or did you listen to her? You did?
I went to our doctor, which is about a 20-mile drive. And I drove myself there. I got into the doctor's office, and my blood pressure was extremely low. It was like 40/60.
Yeah, it was very, very low for me.
And my doctor said to me, I need you to call your husband, have him come get you, and you need to go to the emergency room. I didn't listen to that. I figured I could just drive home myself. And here's the scary part. I drove myself home. I don't remember driving myself home.
Right. And before that, or during her ride, actually to drive home, she had called me and said, Mike, you've got to meet me at the house. The doctor says I got to go to the hospital, blah, blah, blah. I didn't know a lot other than that. So I said, okay, I'll meet you at the house. So I beat her to the house because I lived close. So I immediately got out of work and came right home. And at that point, I was waiting for her, and I'm thinking to myself, something upstairs. God, whoever told me this is not going to be a short visit to the hospital. Didn't have any idea it was going to be what it turned into, but so I grabbed my little. I had a little hiking bag that I kept food and just miscellaneous stuff in, a little sack. So I grabbed that and stuck some energy bars. I stuck my portable power in there. My phone cords for charging, and I actually even stuffed another pair of shorts and shirt in there, and socks and underwear and everything like that. I had everything in that bag that would be for, good for a couple days if need be, but it was kind of a precaution. So then at that point, this is kind of where I remember a little bit. She came home, she came upstairs, and I said, okay, let's go. And she just sat down in her chair. I'm like, honey, I mean, what the doc told you got to go to the hospital. And I could tell by looking at her that, she wasn't quite all there. And so finally, somehow I got her to get up and go down to the car. And at that point, we drove to the hospital. And so what happened at the hospital? Do you remember anything? I mean, what did
No.
you do? Nothing?
I don't remember anything.
Okay. So basically, she got out of the car. She immediately wanted a wheelchair, which was not like her. So they put her in a wheelchair, wheeled her in, checked her out, and immediately they just sent her back into the ICU. At that point, once they took her blood pressure and everything. So at that point, it's just okay. What's going on here? Obviously, they came back and said some sort of infection. They pretty much knew that right away. They had her on antibiotics and things like that, almost right away. Some great team of doctors there that we got very blessed with that, that did a great job throughout. But so from that point, I mean, she was in the hospital there for quite some time before they came up with a game plan. So what did you end up having besides sepsis? How did it start?
Diverticulitis.
Okay.
That's why my guts were in so much pain. I had diverticulitis. I did not know I had it. Looking back, Mike and I realized I had diverticulitis attacks, and now we know what they were. The problem with me is I have a high tolerance for pain.
Right.
So I can take mass quantity doses of pain, and it doesn't affect me like it affects a lot of other people. Now, going forward and being where I'm at right now, I can't. This pain is way different than that pain.
Right.
This pain is almost off the hook, and I can't stand it. But I have to live with it on a daily basis because it's called chronic pain.
Right. It's one of the aftermaths of sepsis,
Right.
Which we'll talk about
Yep.
at a later point. And so diverticulitis, what is that? Like in your colons, it's some sort of
It's
backed up
diverticuli is what filters out the waste,
Okay.
and they have like little fingers.
Yeah.
And mine got really super infected, and it
Okay.
burst.
And it usually happens like in a bend, and that's what happens
Right.
is it bursted.
Right.
Sometime before that,
Right.
which is what was causing the poison to go into her blood stream. So she was in the hospital for, and we're trying to get the dates quick, but I think she was in the hospital for almost a week or so before she had her surgery on this, where basically they were going to remove some of her colon and all this and that, clean it up in there, try and get the infection out of there and out of her bloodstream. They were trying, all these different antibiotics and stuff. Now that they knew what the infection kind of was for the most part, they kind of could take a lot better guess once they knew that. And so sometime I think in, so she was admitted September 20th. I'm going to guess the surgery was around October 4th through 6th, somewhere in there.
Right.
Gauging from a video that I put out. So it might have even been as late as the 7th or 8th, I'm not sure. So you went into this surgery.
Mm-hmm.
You still didn't remember
I
much
don't remember
from
anything.
that point.
I don't really remember anything.
Right. So at this point, you went into surgery, but from what you've been told, how did the surgery go? How did you come out of surgery? Do you remember?
No.
I don't remember from what you've been told.
From what I've been told, I came out of it, and I was still not doing well, and they had to put some drainage tubes in and stuff like that. But before that, they had an infectious disease doctor come in. Am I right?
Well, yeah, he had been involved throughout before that as
Right,
well.
but he came in when I was. He basically walked in the door and said, "This woman is dying."
Well, that was not the infectious disease doctor. That was the surgeon.
Okay.
Infectious disease doctor is not didn't really go in there. So I kind of when she went in there
Take it over.
for surgery, she went in there and they were going to try and remove part of that colon, get it cleaned up, and try to fix that back together, and probably come out with a colostomy bag. So at that point, they did the surgery, and yes, she did come out with a colostomy bag, but during surgery, she didn't do so well because of her condition. She came back on a ventilator. They also intubated her, and they also found that there was a blood clot on her lung area. The surgery itself took about 5.5 hours, and but when she came out, she was not good. Like I said, she couldn't breathe on her own. They basically had her almost like you see in those movies where she's laying there and got tubed down her throat, all these different antibiotics going to her. Like another area with pain meds, which was just keeping her because they wouldn't. She's basically in a coma, but kind of they induced a lot of that part of the thing. So she basically came out and they're like, boy, this didn't go too good. But this is what they told me basically. You know, I don't remember the exact words, but here's what's going on. So we need to, you know, this is serious stuff. We need to continue fighting this sepsis, this poison in her blood, the best we can. Which all this time it wasn't really getting any better. It was pretty much staying the same. So at that point, that's how she came out, and that's kind of where we're pretty much going to end this part of the video series. This is just kind of setting up where she beforehand and also how she came out, and this is just the beginning of the battle. This was the week and a half worth of stuff, and she was in the hospital between the ICU and the hospital and what do you want to call it, before you got home, because after the hospital you went to rehabilitation clinic.
Right, rehab.
Yeah, because more happened throughout this, but we have to stay tuned for the next video for that. Just make sure you like, comment, subscribe down below, and hit that bell there. And at the end of this video, I'm going to put up the video. I'll try to put a little link in the video itself, but also if I can't do that, I'll put one down below, or both. And that's going to be the original video I came out with when I was told YouTube people about how the surgery went and asked for prayers and stuff, or at least at that point. It's a very emotional video that I had to put out, and people respond.
Yeah, you did. You guys are flipping awesome.
Yeah, that video came out on October 8th of 2015 is when I put that video out. So I'll try to link it. If not, you can always go back in our videos to the 2015 October 8th and you'll see it. So anyway, we hope this helps a lot of you out. Any questions, of course, comment down below.
Absolutely.
We're trying to bring more awareness to this as well as just our personal journey of our life.
It's very serious, and if you have any extra questions or anything like that, feel free to ask.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, and we'll see you in the next video. So make sure to watch that out.
Talk to you later. Bye.